Hey there, I'm professional psychic Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up Sundays from March 26, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in. On this video, I'll be talking about the transits for the upcoming week. And I'm actually recording this video early on Friday the 24th because Sunday the 26th is my 60th birthday. I know I'm way too young to be that old, but it's the truth, and I will be celebrating. Tonight, my boys are throwing me a birthday party and inviting friends and loved ones. Tomorrow, I'm doing some live concert events. My sister's going to be in town. I'll be hanging with her. And then on Sunday, my actual birthday, I'll be driving to Arkansas. I'll be visiting Arkansas for a week. I'm going to be staying with relatives, seeing friends, and mining for crystals at one of my favorite spots on the whole planet. So that's why this is going out early, if you're wondering. Usually I film and post these on Sundays. So this is just a little bit of step out of the groove. I'll still be talking about next week's transits, however. I will also be posting separate videos for each of the 12 signs. I'll draw several cards. I'll do a recent past, right now, and the week ahead for each sign. I suggest you look at your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising signs. Once I get those uploaded, I'll put the links to those videos below this one to make it easier for you to access. Also wanted to give a shout out to my daily 1-minute videos that I post here on this channel. I also post them on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I've got the links or my handles or whatever to those below as well. I just look at the astrological transits for the day, whichever seems to be the most important I talk about. I draw a tarot card, and I do that all under 1 minute. So make sure you check those out, get your little daily dose of what's going on in the skies. All right, so this last week, we had the sun enter into Aries, which is the beginning of the astrological new year. We also had a new moon, which is when the sun and moon are together in the skies. That happened the day after the spring equinox. So we had this new moon on the galactic center. Well, the world axis, really. It's not the galactic center. That's at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. The world axis is at 0 degrees of all the cardinal signs. So 0 degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn is the world axis. So whenever there's an important astrological event that's connected on this axis, it's important energy for the whole globe. So whole new beginnings for everyone on the planet. If you have planets or points at the 0 degrees points of the cardinal signs, then you were meant to do something on this planet to affect the whole globe. So my Mercury is at 1 degree of Aries, for example. So my Mercury is the messenger. So messenger, communication, conversations with others, my readings all can fall into this. And so I'm doing that for the betterment of all people on this planet. I feel like my number one goal as a psychic is to help everyone get in touch with the fact that we're all psychic. We all have intuitive abilities. We all have psychic abilities. They show up differently for everyone. But when you can tune into and develop your abilities, which everyone can, they're like latent musical abilities. Say you have the great propensity to be a fabulous musician, but you never pick up an instrument, then you'll never really be able to explore your musical talent. Same thing with psychic abilities. They show up differently for everyone. Some of us are just, they're really loud and obvious. Other people's are, not as obvious. It's more subtle, but everyone can begin to tune in to how they show up for you personally. And when you listen to and follow your own intuition, you're on the best path for your life. So I see that as the main gig. So my Psyched Up business name, my Psyched Up Sundays, and my Psyched Updates, the daily things, are all about everyone getting psyched up, getting tuned into your own abilities. So in my private sessions with others, I feel like I hold a big mirror up to validate your own intuition and help you sort through. I know when I first started trying to develop my abilities back in my 20s, I didn't really know the difference between my head and my intuition. It all seemed like a big pea soup to me. The more I started tuning in and listening to the promptings and realizing that the brain, the mind, usually comes with a harsher tone. At least for me, it did. it was more like you need to, you have to, you should. That's not the voice of the intuition. The intuition will say, wouldn't you love to? Wouldn't it be fabulous if? Ooh, like it's more of a ooh, let's go explore. There's a whole different vibe I have found to the voice of the intuition within me and the voice of my mind. So I can tell just by the energetic frequency that I feel in my body if it's coming from my brain and my mind or if it's coming from my intuitive body. Now, I'm also a channel, which means information just comes through me and I feel it like pouring into the top of my crown chakra and running like energy throughout my whole body. I'll get goosies when something I say is right on or something someone else says is right on. I'll just get this like flash of like an energetic response. That's how I first started. I accidentally stumbled into channeling when I first started trying to develop my psychic abilities. So I didn't know I was a channel. And then after I had been a professional psychic for 10 years, and I've been a professional for 35 years now, I started in 1988 being professional. I wasn't picking up people's loved ones either. That came like a decade after. So abilities keep developing if you work with them. So then the mediumship, which is the ability to get information from loved ones that have crossed, which is a different kind of energy outside our body than the energy that was channeled. I kept trying to see spirit guides when I first started trying to develop my abilities. I was having zero luck at that. But when the energy flew in through the top of my head and out my mouth, I just knew things. And whenever I would say to the people in front of me what I was getting, it was always right on. So I could really trust the source. Now, I've been a practicing Buddhist for 39 years. So my spiritual practice, and I have a daily spiritual practice. I meditate and or chant every day without exception. So my psychic abilities, once I started practicing spiritual practices regularly, every morning, every evening, that really increased my ability to tune into and listen to my intuition. So I also suggest that for those of you that want to work on developing your own abilities, dive into spiritual practices. And it doesn't matter if it's chanting or prayer or breath work or meditation or walking in the woods or soaking in the tub or staring into a fire, doing music, doing art. All these things can bring you in touch with your own divine self and the divine in the universe, right? So enough about that. Back to the new beginnings we are having in Aries. So not only do we have the sun and the moon in Aries, but we also have Jupiter there and Chiron there. We have a couple of asteroids. Chiron is now considered a dwarf planet. It's like Pluto is also considered a dwarf planet. It's still a planet in my book. Chiron is a major player. It's probably the most important asteroid in the astrological world. But Eris is also in Aries, and so is Vesta. So we have a stellium, which is 3 or more planets, in Aries right now. So really, we all are feeling the Aries energy. Everybody gets to feel right now what it feels like for me. I'm a triple Aries. My Mercury, as I was talking about, is at 1 degree of Aries. My sun's at 5 degrees, and my moon is at 22 degrees. So I'm a triple Aries, 3 different aspects or planets in Aries. I'm a Libra rising for those of you that are interested. My Mars is in Leo, so I have a lot of fire. I'm a big old bonfire. A lot of my life I tried to tone down my energy because I felt like I was too much for other people. And now I don't worry about that. That's one of the things that Chiron in Aries is helping everyone do. Heal your own perception of yourself and whether or not you care what other people think of you or not. If you feel good about what you're doing in the world, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. If they approve of you, if they disapprove of you, it doesn't matter if you know you're doing the best thing for your life. If you're off track with your life, then criticism or praise coming from outside of you can sway you a whole lot more. So Chiron in the mid-decan of Aries is helping us to heal that. Jupiter brings good luck, it brings benefits, it makes things bigger, so it increases the energies of Aries. The moon going through Aries really can highlight fiery tempers, right? The moon has now moved into Taurus. By Sunday, the moon will have moved into Gemini. So the moon moves through a sign every couple days, right? So if you want to begin to learn about transits, tracking where the moon is and what you notice about how you feel is an important aspect of looking at that. But back to Aries. All right, so on a positive side, Aries qualities are pioneering spirit. It's the child, it's the baby of the zodiac. So on the positive side, the baby are a childlike enthusiasm for life, a childlike inquisitiveness, Aries are pioneers. They can go where no man has gone before. They're not afraid to initiate, to start new things. Again, they can be super warming. Personalities can be full of passion. So everybody can feel these positives of Aries as the sun moves through Aries. Now, some of the downsides of Aries: impulsivity, speaking without thinking, jumping into things without thinking, fiery templars, being explosive in anger and feelings. Mars rules Aries, right? And so Mars is the god of war. So if you're not centered, then planets moving through Aries can really trigger unresolved issues that you have, especially that would carry an emotional charge, which most unresolved issues do, right? So I noticed that people seem to be extra pissy when the moon moves through Aries, right? Same thing can be with any of these planets, the stellium and Aries. You may find your own self like more irritable than usual, like more easily angered, right? That could be this Aries energy that we're all moving through. So I love my Aries self. I feel like it's a great sign because I'm enthusiastic and positive as a basic nature. And like childlike spirit can be positive or negative. We can be childish. We can be self-involved. That's another one of the Aries qualities, is like just only focusing on self. That's where my Libra rising really helps balance me out, because Libra is all about others, focusing on others and we and how we're all getting along. Okay, so we also had Saturn move into Pisces earlier this month. That was a big transition. The outer planets don't move very quickly, so when they change signs, it's a big deal. Saturn is how we form things, how we set up boundaries, how we structure things. Saturn is father time. It's what we have to put in hard work and effort and time into to accomplish in our lives. So Saturn in Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So we can be wrapping up important karmic lessons with Saturn in Pisces. Pisces is 2 fish. It's a water sign. I forgot to say that Aries is a fire sign. Most people know that. But so Pisces is a water sign. 2 fish. 1 fish is super psychic, super spiritual, getting downloads from on high, connected to everyone and everything. The other fish is swimming along in illusion, delusion, addiction, fuzzy thinking, wanting to check out, wanting to just dissolve, right? So Saturn can help us set up boundaries around spiritual practices, which could raise our vibration. Then we experience the positive side. So the more we plug into our higher self, our Buddha nature, our Christ self, divine self, whatever you want to call that aspect of yourself that continues on after we put our ego and our body down, our intuition, psychic abilities are the voice of that higher self. That's why you can trust that voice. That intuition is right on for your life. Logical, rational mind, maybe, maybe not. We can go do something that's absolutely logical and rational. It may not be what we're being guided to do, and we can pull ourselves off track, even though it may make logical, rational sense. With Pisces energy, we can pull ourselves off track by addiction, just wanting to check out, not wanting to participate in life, just wanting to hide, avoid. So Saturn in Pisces, now Saturn will be there for 3 years. I see Saturn in Pisces as an opportunity to put boundaries around spiritual practices, and then you can really benefit the most from the energies of Pisces. It brings us gifts. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. It's already hanging out in Pisces, right? So Saturn just went into Pisces. So Saturn returns. Let me talk a bit about that. So every 28 to 30 years, Saturn comes back around to the place it was in your natal chart, right? So we call the first Saturn return is really usually about maturing. By the time you hit 28 or 30, you're actually starting to feel like an adult, whereas you've had some maturity, gone through life, you've learned some things. Okay, now you can start assessing who you are and what you are. Your brain is past developing, right? So you're, okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Often at the first Saturn return, we could be getting married, having children, buying houses, established in our careers. These are kind of the things. It's a reevaluation time whenever Saturn comes around back to where you were born. It's a time to like assess, okay, this is what I've accomplished. This is what I've done. What's next? The second Saturn return brings more rewards with it, is what I've experienced. It's where you're kind of closing out cycles. You get the empty nest. You're moving towards retirement. It happens between ages of 58 and 60. You've got some maturity. You've learned some things and have some wisdom to offer the rest of the world in your second Saturn return. You could be faced with new life choices. So I wrote some dates down. So if you were born between March of 1964 and March of 1967, you are experiencing your Saturn return, your second one, because Saturn was in Pisces when you were born. So again, this reevaluation period. Also, you're having your first Saturn return if you were born between February of 1994 and April of 1996. You guys have Saturn in Pisces. So this could feel like there's a kind of click, click, click kind of coming into place. Things can get clear, right? Ideally, we have a third round of a Saturn return when we're crones or kings and have super lots of wisdom to offer. I'll have to tell you about that one. But closing up of cycles is the second Saturn return, right? So I had an empty nest. My kids all left because I just had mine because my Saturn's in Aquarius. So I just had my second Saturn return. So I experienced that as all the rest of my children leaving the nest. I have 6 of them. The last 2 left my nest. I moved into my own space. I'm established in my career. I've got my groove on with that. I do my daily spiritual practices without exceptions. That's kind of an example of how the second Saturn return can really look. Sometimes people want to start up new things around their Saturn returns. They can go, well, okay, I was doing this. This is not really working for me. It's, again, a time of reevaluation. So you look at your life and go, this isn't working. Like, I want to do this differently. But for everyone, I see Saturn in Pisces as an opportunity to set boundaries, set up parameters around your spiritual growth and development, your psychic growth and development as well. Setting up boundaries around addictive patterns as well. Like, not going to drink that alcohol. For me, I don't eat sugar. I don't eat flour. I don't drink. Don't do drugs. Those are my clean lines in the sand that I've established over these last 60 years, right? So those are my clear, bright lines in the sand that I will not cross. Don't eat sugar. Don't eat flour. Don't drink alcohol. Don't do drugs. Done. So that keeps me in my best self. And I have my Chiron and Jupiter in Pisces. So definitely having addictive things. Chiron is the wounded healer. So if you have Chiron in Pisces, as a lot of people my age do, you can have had health issues. Pisces is one of the signs, Virgo, the one across from it as well, that rules health. Pisces is more your emotional health, your intuitive health, your spiritual health, whereas Virgo is more your physical health, your mental health. So this axis, and a lot of us born around the time I was born have have Pluto and Uranus in Virgo, right? So that's the health axis. So just a little bit about a diatribe into those kind of things. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth when I start doing these. I write my notes and then I let it fly. So the other important transit besides Saturn moving into Pisces was Pluto moving into Aquarius. Now, Pluto is the slowest moving planet. And it just came back around to the place it was in the United States chart. It took 250 years-ish for Pluto because it has a weird orbit. So there's who knows how long it'll take for the next round. But Pluto moving into Aquarius, none of us alive on this planet have experienced Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Capricorn that we've been experiencing since 2008 is the old paradigm, because Capricorn is the old, the established, the way we've always done things, whereas Aquarius is the new, the innovative, the different, right? Pluto represents death and transformation, power and control issues. It can be wealth. It rules secrets, the deep psyche. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and Scorpio is the deep, dark waters. Pluto was lord of the underworld. So Pluto issues, wherever Pluto is in your birth chart, is where you came in to transform things in a deep way. Where Pluto is transiting is where it's changing up that part of your life. So when Pluto finishes its transit through Aquarius, everyone on the planet will be changed, because Aquarius rules technology. So technology is going to go crazy. We think we've had a lot of technological advancement over the last decade. Sure, we have. Wait till the next two. It's going to be off the chain. Aquarius also rules air travel. We could all be driving around in cars that fly in the 20 years from now. It rules extraterrestrials. I expect that we are going to have the common knowledge that we are being visited by evolved creatures from other places. That's going to come out into public life, in my opinion, in the next 20 years. Social shifts, major social changes, because Aquarius is the two wavy lines. It's an air sign that rules humanity. Everybody working together. Everybody's is important. Aquarius rules the 11th house in the astrological wheel, which is when we do things in groups. We get together with our friend circle, our band, our work team, our family, wherever you're gathering in groups of people, that is Aquarius. So how we gather together, I think there'll probably be a lot more communal living over this next 2 decades because of the focus on Aquarius. And Pluto entering into Aquarius is indeed the beginning of the age of Aquarius. And the ages move backwards in time. So we're just leaving the age of Pisces, and that's about a 2,000-year cycle. Right before that, it was the age of Aries, the 2,000 years before that, where Mars, the god of war, was ruling things. That's when we first had war on this planet and fighting over turf and that kind of stuff in the age of Aries. In the age of Taurus before that, there wasn't war going on the planet. So there's just, like the nodes, the ages move backwards. All the rest of the planets, it's weird because the planets move in a counterclockwise. If you're looking at an astrology chart, forward is actually a counterclockwise direction, whereas retrograde is actually a clockwise direction. So it's a bit confusing. Astrology can be a bit confusing. When I first started trying to study it, I was like, wait, trines, squares, opposite, no, too much math. Like, I can't deal. So I just stuck with the sun signs initially. And then I started being willing to learn about the planets and what they mean and represent. And then I was putting those two together. What does it mean when the planets are in these signs? Then I started looking at the relationship, the aspects, whether things are conjunct, means close together, or trine, which is a positive aspect, or square, which is a negative one, oppositions, which could be both, sextiles, quincunxes, all these kind of things. I started diving into that. After that, I started studying the transits. That has been the biggest aha and growth of my psychic abilities in recent years, was being able to understand the transits and therefore understand the times that we're moving through and the whys of what's going down on the planet. It is fascinating to me. For example, I knew in 2020 that we were going to be heading into unprecedented times. That's because Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto, these slower moving outer planets, were all together in the skies. in an unprecedented way that had not been happened in like 8,000 years of our human history. So I didn't know what it was that was going to, Pluto is about death and transformation. Saturn's about how we control things. Jupiter makes things bigger. I didn't know how that was going to show up until I heard the first report out of Wuhan, and I knew immediately it's going to be a pandemic. Like, bam, got that psychic information. But even leading up to that, I knew we were headed into unprecedented times, right? Same thing with this transit of Pluto into Aquarius. Unprecedented. With the power and control planet moving into the new and the innovative, and humanity instead of earthbound Capricorn, where the top-down power struggle, Capricorn represents the top-down power. The white man with the money has the power. That's the paradigm that this country was built on, right? Who signed the Declaration of Independence? Pluto was in Capricorn when that was happening, right? And right after that, when Pluto went into Aquarius, 1777 to 1798 was when Pluto was last in Aquarius. That's during the French and American Revolutions. So we won't exactly revisit history. We never do, but you can look at previous transits as to what kind of energy it's going to be bringing about. Tremendous transformational change for everyone on the planet. And then personally, you're being asked to step up to who you are. Aquarius is also the unique, the different, your own personal signature with the world. Aquarius is the maverick. It does things outside the box, right? So if you know any Aquarians, can you predict how they're going to do things? Not usually, unless they have some Earth in their chart as well. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and it throws curveballs. It likes to shake things up. Its goal is to wake you up and to have you do your spiritual work. But it throws curveballs left and right. Unexpected things come out of nowhere. So with Pluto, death and transformation in a sign that's ruled by unexpected, that's going to be the theme. Now, Pluto will only stay at this 0-degree point for a few months. The end of this year, it backs. I'll go into the dates in last week's video. So if you want to know the specifics of when Pluto's going to be going back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn, rather than repeat that in this video, go check that one out if you want to know the specifics. But we're staying in Aquarius for a few months, and we back into Capricorn. Next year, we go back into Aquarius, back into Capricorn again, and then by November of 2024, we are in Aquarius for the next 20 years with Pluto. So we're getting a taste test, a preview of coming attractions right now. So pay attention. What shifts and changes in your life over these next few months? What do you notice different about your life, about the life in the country that you live in, about life on this planet? What do you notice? Are there technological advances that come onto the scene? Are there major changes in social media, for example? This is where we're all getting together. Technology, right? News, media, technology, all these things are going to be dramatically shifting. I think about the Jetsons, right? And how so much of the cartoon The Jetsons that I watched as a child already are prevalent in what we don't have yet is the flying cars. But like I said, I think those are coming. So technological advances that are going to be mind-blowing. Because, again, Aquarius blows our mind. Pluto transforms things. So it can be exciting. If you're trying to hold on to the old ways of doing things, you're going to really struggle. If you're willing to change whatever you need to change in yourself, in your life, in the world, if you can be flexible, if you're doing your work, this can be just amazing growth times, right? So this kind of like if you're holding on, like rope burn, you're going to get some serious soul burn. If you're letting go and being flexible and being willing to do your work and change and transform, it's going to be amazing growth time. Just exponential growth if you're willing to do your work. So another thing about Pluto is that everyone has had power and control issues show up in their life in some form or fashion. You've had people who've abused their power over you, and you've probably been the one who's abused your power in some way over someone else, whether it was being a bully on the playground when you were a kid or bullying your siblings or being extra controlling at work or in your relationships or whatever. So we all have the ability to transform this power over trying to get power and control over other people. If everyone will just turn that within and just try to have power and control over the things within yourself that you need to govern, then we're all going to be doing better. Anybody who's trying to get power from external, other people to adore them, other people to pay them, other people to follow their lead, anybody who's trying to make people do things are in an imbalanced power situation. I've talked in many, many videos about this top-down power over paradigm that is a Tower of Babel crumbling to the ground right now. Anybody, any organizations, businesses, systems of any kind, governments that are set up in this top-down power over paradigm are going to be crumbling, crashing. So we could have a major crash within the United States government because that's how things have been run here. And if we, the people, really becomes the reality, that's a different reality than the one that's currently running the ship, right? So that's a revolution can be messy, right? Transformation can be messy. But the positive change on the other side of it, last week I gave the analogy of us going through a labor and we're birthing our new selves, we're birthing a new reality on this planet, and labor is not usually easy unless you fully surrender, and then it can be this beautiful, blissful transition and experience. I've experienced blissful births and I've experienced just dramatic births myself. So preview of coming attractions. One of the things can really be shifting is our climate crisis, because Aquarius is air. It rules the air around us, the air we breathe. So air quality things can happen. I've been getting intuitively for years now, that water is our most precious resource. And if anyone wanted to really take a nation down, poisoning the water supply would be the way to go. If there is any nuclear stuff coming up, it could affect the water supply. So I don't know. I feel like water could be an issue. Pisces is about water. Saturn moving into Pisces. Saturn can also bring about endings, right? Conclusions. It's the last sign of the zodiac, especially in 2025 when Saturn gets close to Neptune. There can be a lot of systems ending on this planet. Businesses ending. Water events happening as Saturn now and Neptune are both in Aquarius. So floods, flash flooding, torrential rains, anything where water is going to be an issue here, I think, with on the downside. Drinking plenty of fresh drinking water. I've seen all kinds of cool technological advances. Pluto and Aquarius is hopefully helping us be able to make water out of anything. That would be one of the benefits that we could come away with, so that we don't have to worry about our water staying pure, because right now a lot of our water is pretty poisoned. If we don't have clean drinking water or cooking water, we're going to be effed. So I don't like to go to worst case scenarios. I think the reason for understanding the transits is so that we can try to bring out the best self and hold a positive vision for peace and beauty and tranquility and healing of the planet, healing ourselves personally, healing of our relationships with each other, healing the planet. That's what I see Aquarius energy and Pluto and Aquarius really bringing in. So we're switching from the power over paradigm to a being empowered. And this is not like an ego power. It's about surrendering, actually, your personal ego. That's the part that dies. And the birth of your higher self, your spiritual self, being the one that rules the show, runs the ship, not your mind, your ego, but your higher spiritual power, which is not trying to have power over anyone else. So this is the beauty that can come out of these times. If you're doing your spiritual work, it can just be fascinating, amazing. So notice what shifts in your life over these next few months with both the fact that Pluto is in Aquarius and Saturn is in Pisces. These themes that I've talked about. See how they show up in your life. Now, as Pluto moved into Aquarius, over the last couple of days, it began squaring the nodes of fate, also called the North Node and the South Node. So right now the nodes are at 4 degrees of they're about to move into Aries. 4 degrees of Taurus in Scorpio. The North Node is where we're collectively learning. South Node is what we're collectively releasing. So what we're supposed to learn, what we're supposed to clear out. And Pluto squaring the nodes is like forcing you to do your work, or it's going to be really, really hard. Like people are going to be kicking and screaming that aren't doing their work. So again, doing your work, you're going to be fine. Major transformations happening, but it could be kind of intensive on the planet. And Pluto will be squaring the nodes until November. They get exact, like this summertime, June, July. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, because in July, that's when the nodes change into Aries and Libra, and new themes for the next 18 months start up. I'm not going to talk about that yet. What I will talk about is we just had the new moon this last week in Aries at 0 degrees and 55 minutes of Aries. We'll have another new moon in Aries. This time it'll be at 29 degrees and 50 minutes. It will also be a solar eclipse. That will happen on April 19th. So we are now in the eclipse portal. And during eclipses portals, things jettison, they go by faster. It's like entering into this portal. It's like the old, Star Trek, where you get in and you can beam yourself in a completely different place. That's what portals can do. New people come into your life around eclipses. People exit your life around eclipses. People are born and die around eclipses too. It's a powerful portal point. So we're already beginning to now feel the next eclipse that will be coming, which will be a solar eclipse on April 19th. So I just wanted to give a heads up about that. And this solar eclipse, the eclipses always happen near the nodes. This will be squared Pluto. So it will be an even more intensive transit than usual. And eclipses are usually the most intensive transits we go through. And so this will be an eclipse on steroids. In April, party, and we're feeling that. So you may, again, begin to feel people coming into your life, people exiting your life. Then in May 5th, we'll have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. It'll be the last eclipse in Scorpio. It'll be at 14 degrees and 58 minutes of Scorpio. So again, that's ruled by Pluto. So, intensive, intensity is the name of the game. Pluto is about intensity. It rules that work, doing your deep inner work. It also rules past lives. So you can even begin to have past life flashbacks, especially with Saturn and Neptune also in Pisces, adding to strong psychic abilities. You can have people that you've known from past lives start coming into your life or surfacing, that you may have already known. Like the past life theme really becomes prevalent in my sense of things, is like, and also being able to maybe even remember what it was you were doing in past life. Where is your karma? Usually we can't see what our karma is. Karma being the accumulation of all the causes we've set, both positive and negative, across all our lifetimes. So our life is a reflection of our karma. So if we put in good causes and really worked hard on ourselves and being in our spiritual self, we have great karma coming back, right? If we've had negative causes, been off track, abused ourselves, abused others, that karma comes back around. So this is the time of karmic reckoning too, with the outer planets in Pisces, Pluto and Aquarius. So there's a lot of karmic retribution. Like, again, good karma coming back to you. If you've been putting out positive causes, you've been doing your work, you have nothing to worry about. You're going to get rewards. Those people that have been setting negative causes, putting negative things out in the world, yeah, those people are going to have a karmic kick down, like like being beaten up by a gang kind of a thing on an energetic level. So, let's see. I'll look at my notes and see if there's anything else of the overall stuff. So this is all sort of overall things that are going on. Yeah, I think that's most of my notes. Also, that Pluto doesn't move quickly, so you're going to have plenty of opportunity to do your work, right? So again, it'll go back and forth. It'll go back into Capricorn, stirring up all this old paradigm The power, so power down things are going to be trying to hold on and keep what their hold on things over this next year and a half. I really think a lot of those are going to be collapsed by the end of next year. And those that are left standing will probably end up falling afterwards, kind of like when something's come along and blown it up and it may still be standing, and then over time it just crumbles, kind of thing. So I really see that kind of stuff crumbling. So Saturn and Pisces, it also can bring your attention to what's not working in your life. That's another note that I've put down here about Saturn and Pisces. Like, because Saturn is like, comes in with the the magnifying glass and the spotlight, is checking and seeing what all's going on. So if your life is off track in any way, you're going to be getting that clear messages coming through. And people may want to change their careers right now. If you've been waiting to do what you're here to do, like, this is the time. Pluto being Aquarius, the power and control planet, being in this sign that represents the innovative, the new, the different, allows everyone to be their unique self. So if you're doing what other people want you to do instead of what you want to do, you're going to feel this tug and this desire to just drop that all and maybe start something completely new. Lots of people are going to be starting new careers here in the next few years. So ask yourself, what do you want to do? How do you want to co-create with the universe to create your life? What is your mission on this planet? Do you know? Your birth chart can point to that. If you want to know more about your birth chart, you can contact me and we can dive into your stuff for readings. All right, so we don't have a lot of aspects this week in the transits. It's pretty quiet in terms of the daily stuff. Starting on Monday the 27th, the moon will be in Gemini from Sunday. Is there anything I need to talk about? Oh, on Sunday the 26th, Mercury in Aries will be conjunct Chiron in Aries. So Mercury's the messenger, Chiron is the wounded healer. So we could get messages about where we are on our healing journey. We can get validation if we've done some healing work. We can have some areas pointed out if there's work that still needs to be done, right? So that's a big takeaway on Sunday the 26th. Monday the 27th, moon's in Gemini. It makes sextiles with Chiron, giving us more insights into the healing. If we didn't already get messages on Sunday, we get even more insights. So it's a couple of days of information coming in about Chiron. Then the moon will sextile Mercury. Again, messages, intuitive messages coming through. It could come through in your dreams because this is happening in the middle of the night, Monday night, early Monday morning, late Sunday night. Okay, and then the moon will square Neptune later in the day on Monday. This could be fuzzy confusion. A square can bring out sort of the worst, like being cut off from your intuition, not really knowing what's happening. Again, the more you do spiritual practices, the more you can override some of these negative aspects. On Tuesday, the 28th, at 1:50 a.m., and these are Austin, Texas times, Central Time Zone in the United States, Mercury in Aries will be conjunct Jupiter in Aries. So this Mercury, the messenger, communications, our thinking with Jupiter, making things bigger. So big ideas, big conversations, big insights, big ahas, big messages coming in from spirit. These are all the things that could be happening on Tuesday. Also at 5:21 a.m., the moon will move into Cancer. Oh, I forgot to mention one important transit that's happening between now, Friday and Sunday, and that is Mars will finally go into Cancer tomorrow on Saturday, or yesterday if you're watching this on Sunday. On Saturday, the 25th of March, Mars finally moves out of Gemini, where it's been for 7 months, and moves into Cancer. This is like taking a fireball and dropping it in the water. So it can be kind of steamy, but at least it's moving into a different energy. Usually Mars takes 6 to 7 weeks to move through a sign. It's been in Gemini for 7 months because it went retrograde, right? So Mars is finally moving into a new sign, bringing its light, bringing the info. Mars is about how we take action, how we put our energy into things. Moving into Cancer. Cancer rules the fourth house in the astrological wheel. So this is like we could have movement around our home, our physical home, connections with our mothers or as a mother. It can be an extra emotional sign. Cancers can be very sensitive when the moon moves through Cancer. It can be extra emotional sensitivity, extra psychic sensitivity. So Mars moving into Cancer can really have extra emotional stuff going on. And again, unresolved anger, fiery emotional stuff can come out. The water of Cancer can help kind of put out the fires more quickly. So that can be a benefit. But, fire into water can make steam. So people could have like smoke coming out of their ears. But at least we're moving forward. Mars will be backed up to its normal speed, moving through Cancer at a normal pace. It'll be moving into Leo by April. Okay. Now all the planets are moving forward in the skies. We will be having a retrograde of Mercury in April. That's not here yet. We have all this forward motion still happening. So it's definitely time with the new beginnings of the new astrological year and the new moon we had to just move forward, start something new. It's the time. So we have the moon moving into Cancer on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, notice, do you feel extra emotional? Do you feel extra sensitive? Do you get psychic information coming in extra strong, right? So the moon will cross over Mars as it moves in on Tuesday. So again, we could get some intuition. Moon represents our intuition into how to take action in our lives. That could be a positive. Then the moon will trine Saturn. Again, it'd be a great time to get ideas, set up boundaries for ourselves and others. The moon makes aspects sextile Venus on Wednesday the 29th. It squares Chiron. So again, there could be like an ouchie, something that comes up. We may get triggered, and we have to look at that on Wednesday. That could happen. I think triggers are always opportunities for healing. That's how I spin it. If you get triggered, that means there's something that's still not healed within you. Otherwise, you don't have that reaction and knee-jerk when something or someone does or says something to you. If you have a triggered reaction, that's on you. It's not on the person who did the triggering. Now, we do have loved ones sometimes that'll purposely go into our wounded places. That's a whole different story. Okay, we'll have a sextile between the moon and Uranus on Wednesday afternoon. This could be sudden unexpected messages coming through, information, insight coming in. Then the moon will square Jupiter. So again, there's some kind of difficult aspects on Wednesday. So with the Cancer energy, you might want to just duck and cover. Cancers love the home. They don't want to leave the house. So if you want to have a day that you don't leave the house, that would be Wednesday, the 29th. On Thursday, the 30th, the moon will square Mercury in the middle of the night, which could bring some interesting dreams in. Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. We have Mars making a trine with Saturn at 2:03 p.m. on Thursday the 30th. This is really lovely in helping you set boundaries and take action in the way that is best for your life. Mars about taking action, Saturn setting boundaries, a trine's a positive connection. Oh yes, this is what I want to do. This feels like this is the deal. He's sticking to it. Then we have Venus in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So this can be kind of explosive, unexpected. Venus is love, relationships, money. Uranus is the unexpected. Conjunctions can bring positive or the negative. So you can have like relationship breakdowns, relationship breakthroughs, unexpected money coming in, unexpected bills coming in. These are all things that could shift the energy with this conjunction on Thursday the 30th between Venus, the planet of love, and Uranus, the great awakener. So if you need to have some aha looks in your relationships, the universe is helping you out, bringing it. Then right after that, the moon moves into Leo. And the moon in Leo is a fire sign. It's about creativity and romance and children and following our passions. So that the moon will be in Leo from 5:31 p.m. on Thursday the 30th. All the way through Friday into, when does it change? Then the moon changes next Sunday on the 2nd Then the moon goes into Virgo, where the attention goes on our health and healing. So it could be a very romantic weekend next weekend with the moon moving through Leo, really creative weekend. May want to get out and play. Leo rules play and fun. There's also an aspect on Saturday the 1st. Venus in Taurus will sextile Pallas Athena in Cancer. This is could be a very beautiful creative time. Artistic creative endeavors I think could be big, and especially with the moon still being in Leo, like if you're going to create a masterpiece, or you're going to write that song, or write the next pages in your memoir, or write the best novel or your screenplay, or paint that amazing work of art, or have the most amazing meal you've cooked up, Saturday is going to be really lovely for that. So that's what I see for the transits for this week. Again, make sure you check out the signs for your rising, which is determined by the time of your birth. If you don't know the time of your birth, you don't know your rising or your ascendant sign. But you can always look at your sun sign for sure. The moon sign can also change in the middle of the day. So if you don't know your time of birth, sometimes you can guess where the moon is. Sometimes you can guess between two signs what your moon sign is. And usually I can work that out with someone who doesn't know their time of birth. I can throw out the different qualities of what a moon in one sign feels like versus the moon in the other. Mostly people could go, oh yeah, no, I feel that for sure. So find your authentic self, empower yourself, do your spiritual practices, breathe deeply and often, right? This would be a great time to be keeping journals because you're going to be going through so much change. So it'd be good to capture the change as you're moving through it. Have a great week. Let me know if you need a private session. Peace.